How are you doing today? I hope you're doing great. I do have another question for you, though, and that question is: are you struggling with how to create complex characters for your story? Well, if so, then you are in the right place because I am going to share with you 10 tips on how to do just that. So be sure to stay to the end so you can get all the great things that I'm going to give you today. And so let's get to it, shall we? Well, of course we shall. Starting with number one, give them contradictions. People will often act against their stated beliefs. This could be a cop who bends the rules to get a case closed, or your character could be a ruthless villain who follows a vegan diet because he does not believe in hurting animals, thinking that's cruel and inhuman. Basically, a hero character should have at least one bad quality, and a villain should have at least one redeeming character trait. This makes them feel more real, even though we know we're reading fiction and know the person's not real, but make them feel real, though. Number two, build a backstory that affects the present. This would be a defining moment from their past, some kind of trauma, failure, or anything else that now casts a shadow over their current choices. You slowly drip that out in the story until it needs to come out fully. An example of this could be, let's say your character was in what they thought to be a loving relationship with someone who aspired to be a movie star or world famous musician. Your character supported them through thick and thin. Maybe even it was to the detriment of their own ambitions. That does happen, doesn't it, in real life? So you're making them feel real. Then the love interest cheated on them and left them for someone else and went on to become the rich and famous celebrity. You can then show how that might affect their ability to trust and find love again in the story. Number three, give them a core wound and a false belief. Using the above example of the character who was betrayed by the lover who went on to become famous without them, their core wound is betrayal and abandonment. Their false belief will be that they are not worthy of love and or all men or all women, depending who they are in a relationship with, can't be trusted. So in your story, they might happen to meet another person who has lofty ambitions, perhaps in the same career as the lover who betrayed them, and has now shown an interest in that character. This can show conflict, as in, do they take a chance, one last chance at love, or do they shut that person out to avoid getting hurt again? Either of them could happen. Number four, make their goals and fears specific. This is something you might have seen or heard before if you've ever done anything regarding to goal setting. The prevailing advice is to make your goals SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and finally time specific. In other words, I want to be happy. Happy is really just too generic for you and your in real life and your character in the story. The above example will have your character fearing being abandoned and betrayed again. A life goal they have might be to have that loving relationship maybe by a certain date, like Christmas or a high school reunion, so they can show what they are now in case they run into that person who betrayed them again. So they meet a potential new partner while doing something else, like organizing a benefit concert for a friend's child who has a life-threatening disease. Of course, they don't approach the one who betrayed them to do the benefit concert, but there is a new local band on the cusp of greatness. The specific goal, maybe they need that concert done in 2 weeks. Number five, have them make bad choices for good reasons. A character can do something questionable out of love, loyalty, or desperation. This can make them believable, keeping the audience emotionally invested. An example of this is Walter White in Breaking Bad. The bad choice is selling illegal substances. The reason was he was diagnosed with terminal cancer and he didn't want to leave his family in dire financial straits. Give them flaws that affect other characters for number six. Instead of a character being clumsy or foolish, you make them possessive or self-righteous or any other trait that will create tension in the story. If they have a controlling nature and they micromanage and dominate all decisions, this could possibly turn allies into enemies and push away love interests. A character might have ruthless ambition, and this character might therefore be so focused on success that they ignore ethical guidelines for their industry. And other characters suffer as collateral damage in their pursuit of greatness. Another character's trait could be chronic lying. We all know someone, don't we, who has that trait of telling tall tales that we know aren't true. This destroys trust in relationships, especially if the liar starts trying to tell the truth about something. Another character could have a martyr complex, or they are always sacrificing themselves for others. At first, this might seem noble, but eventually the character might start to feel resentful of the others in the story because they don't feel appreciated. Number 7, give them relationships that change them. No one, not even in fictional stories, should exist in a vacuum. Even in the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, the character still had something of a relationship with the volleyball. If you've ever seen the movie, you know what I mean. If you haven't, well, it may seem weird, but, well, get your head out of the gutter if it does seem weird. You'll want to give them friends, enemies, and possibly mentors that will challenge their worldview. In the example I gave of the character who was betrayed by a lover who went on to become a famous celebrity, the character should have at least one friend who pushes them to move past the hurt of the betrayal, as in, not all men or women or whoever are slugs who will drop you like a wet towel. And then the character pushes back, like that, like, well, enough of them are, and it's just not worth the risk. Number 8, let their personality shift in different contexts or situations. We don't all talk the same way with our friends as we do with our families, coworkers, or bosses. You might be able to curse and swear around your friends, but not when you're working with children in a daycare center. And, well, if you try it with your boss, you might not have that boss sooner or later, like as in a minute from now, you're on the unemployment line or going to there. So perhaps your character is assertive at work, but more passive in a romantic setting. This could be at the office, where they're decisive, while at home they defer to a domineering spouse or they struggle to connect with their teenage kids. Don't quit writing, remember. Or perhaps they're shy and reserved in a public setting, while expressive and witty on the internet, where they can be anonymous. That would feel real because that really happens quite often, doesn't it? And also, they might be charming or flirtatious in public gatherings, while if they carry emotional baggage, they let their pessimism and sarcasm shine through in private. Number 9, create internal conflicts. Complexity will thrive in an emotional tug-of-war. Have your character wanting to be loyal to a friend, but they have an ambitious goal to get a promotion at work. In order to get that promotion, they have to do something that will destroy trust with a friend. Maybe even end the friendship outright. So, do they go for the promotion and achieve their goals, but lose the friend? Or do they say, friendship is more important. Some things are more important than money. And finally, number 10, you want to avoid easy labels. In other words, don't just say someone is the villain. Every person is the villain hero of their own story. Sometimes they might be the villain of their own story, but for our purposes, have your villain, have them have a potential understandable reason for what they do. Remember, as stated before in Walter White in Breaking Bad, he made and sold illegal substances to provide for his family after he's gone. So there you have it, my 10 proven ways to create complex characters. I hope you liked the video and that it helps you with your own writing. Have a great day and a great week. I'll see you in 7 days. So long.